In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to configure global unicast addressing for IPv6. And the purpose of global unicast addressing is to have an address that's routable across the internet. Link local addresses are only specific to a subnet. They're not included in the routing table and they're not advertised outside of a subnet. So global unicast, what they're done is they're put on interfaces that are public, but not necessarily. But often that's what they're used for. But they're also used on WAN interfaces, and as mentioned, they're typically done for any kind of network interfaces where you want them when you want routing across the internet or between routers that are going to the cloud, for example. So in this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to each router, and there's 3 interfaces on each router. There's one interface connected to a switch, and there's 2 interfaces that interconnect to other routers. And so what I want to do is I want to enable IPv6 on each router and assign statically a global unicast address. And when I do that, when I configure a global unicast address manually, the interface is automatically assigned a link local address as well. And what it does is it generates uses the network portion of the unicast address, and also generates the host ID portion for the using EUI64 format. That's generated from the MAC address of the interface. So the link local address is generated automatically, but what it does is it uses the EUI64 format to generate the host portion of that link local address, and it's generated right off the MAC address. So to start with, I'll select router 1. I'll go to CLI. And I'll start configuring. So the first thing I want to do is basically just add a description. I'll say I'll start with 10. Actually, I'll start with the interface command first. FA10. And I'll type a description for it, link to switch 1. In this case, I just used description. I don't have to use all the command. So description, DES, the first 5 letters are fine. Then the next thing I want to do is assign an IP address. So I've got a group of them here. So 2001 DB8 3C4D4, that is the actual subnet portion. So it's a 4 subnet. I want to think of it like that. And 1 is the host ID. And it's 2001. So this is a global address. So 1 is the host ID. So it'll be basically 192.168.4.1 if you were using, say, an IP4 address. And I'll type no shut. And there the interface goes up. So the next thing I want to do is go to interface FA00, and that connects to router 3. That's that interface there. And I want to add a description. So I'm going to call this link to router 2, router 3. So there it is there. There's the description. Then I've got an IP address I want to put on that. So I'll go to my document here. So on 00, I want to use this interface here. So this is using 1 subnet. So this basically is this is the interface going to router 3. Then I'll do a no shut, and the interface goes to up. And the next thing I want to do is go over to 01, and that connects to router 2. So I'm going to put an address on 01 as well. Interface FA01. Then I'll type a description, call it link to router 2. Use up arrow as well, but they both work fine. And the The IP address for that is going to be this one right here. That's going to be a 2 subnet. And do a no shut. So you notice from the topology drawing here, what I've done is I've got a 4 subnet here. I've got 1 subnet on 00 and two on there. And like with IPv4, the directly connected neighbors have to be in the same subnet. So when I go to router 2, this 00 is going to be in the 2 subnet. So I'll select router 2, go to CLI, and sign on. And the first thing I'm going to do, before I do this, the other command to do, like any command you do with IP6, is make sure you enable unicast routing. It's a global command. That finishes router 1. So I should really start with the global command because it is global. So with unicast routing. Next thing I want to do is start with the interfaces. So 10 connects to switch 2. I think I'll start with that one. Interface FA10. And I'll type a description, call it a link to switch 2. Typed it wrong. And I want to assign an IP address. So that's 10 on router 2. So this is router 2 now, and I'll go to 10 here. There's the IP address there. So I'll paste that in. So this is going to be the 5 subnet. I'll type no shut layer 3 interface. The interface is gone off now. So you notice now this is the 4 subnet connects to switch 1. This is the 5 subnet connects to switch 2. So I'm going to start on 00 now on router 2. And description is link to router 1. And I'm going to find an IP address for that. And paste it in there. There's the 2 subnet that I mentioned before. It has to be in the same subnet. And no shut. Okay. I'm just going to grab this other interface right here while I'm here. This is for 01 on router 2. Face FA00. Make sure I've got the interface correct. It's actually 01 connects to router 3. I'm working on 01 now. And I'll up arrow for a description. That links to router 3. And I'm going to paste in the IP address. It's on the 3 subnet now. And just do a no shut. And it changes to up. Now I'll switch over to router 3 now, and I'm going to start with 10 interface that connects to switch 3. So go to the CLI, and I'm going to config terminal, unicast routing. So just enable IPv6 globally. Okay, so the first interface I'm going to go with is 10. Okay, so I'm going to grab the IP address for that. I think I already did. No, I didn't. So here, I'm just going to go over here, grab this here. paste that in there. So this is actually a 6 subnet, and its host ID is 1. And no shut. So state changed to up on the interface. So that's a 6 subnet. So this here, so this would be 4, this is 5, and this is 6. These are the switch links. So 10 is in the 6 subnet. Now I'm going to go over to 00, and that connects to router 1. So we'll go interface FA00, and the description I'll give it is just linked to router 1. And let's grab an IP address for it. Paste it in. And this is on the 1 subnet. It's got the .2 if you want to think of it like that. Okay, interface is up. So that's in the 1 subnet. So that's 1. So this is .1 and this is .2. Now I'm going to go over to router 301. That connects to router 2. And that's the last interface I have to do. 01. Okay, and I'm going to go and grab this interface here. That's going to be in the 3 subnet, and that's the WAN interface, connects to router 2. So I want to give it a description. I'll call link to router 2. Paste in the global unicast address. So this is in the 3 subnet and it's .1. And then no shut. And that interface is okay. So what I'm going to do here now, I'm on router 3. At this point all interfaces are configured, and there's actually 9 of them altogether. So what I'm going to do is, notice they're all active there. 1, 2, and 4. So if I select this, go show IPv6 interface brief, and that'll give me all the IP6 addresses. Show me the status of the IP6 addresses. This is all layer 1 and layer 2. So layer 1, layer 2, up and up. So 00, 01, and 10, they're all up. It shows the FE80 is the link local address, and 2001 is the global address. So everything is fine there. Go to router 2 and I'll do the same command. And the same thing. So it's got the same interfaces. Shows you the subnets, the host IDs, and the status of the interfaces. And what I can do here, if I want to ping 00 from router 1, go to 00. This is on router 2. So if I go to 00, I can just take this address, for example, 22. There's a copy. If I go back to router 1, ping IPv6, I'll just paste that in there, and 100%. So that just tells me that that's just more of a layer 3 test, show integrity between the links. Do the same for all of them. If I go to router 3, I'll just test local interfaces, and this is another show command. And again, it's the same thing. It shows everything is up and the links are fine. And that concludes global unicast addressing.